Hello, I'm Darren the Magic Ghostbuster. If you enjoyed the video, please like, subscribe and check out all my Ghostbusters themed magic videos. Now in this video I'm talking about the famous Ghostbusters logo, probably one of the most famous and recognised logos in the world, designed by legendary Michael Gross. Now this logo has been adapted by thousands of people all over the world for franchises, fan groups, social media channels. There's even been some slight variations officially, like on this charity premiere program for Ghostbusters 2, there's a version of Moogly holding a Coca-Cola cup, and in this Japanese flyer, or not flyer, program even, there's a version of him holding a hi-fi system for an advert. So it's been adapted a lot, and that is basically what we're talking about today. Now I studied graphic design at college, got a national diploma, and I designed my own logo, which you would have seen at the intro, and I've been hired to design logos for people, and I just love messing around really with the logo, so I've just come up with loads of different variations that I'll show you throughout this video, but basically I'm just going to give you some tips for designing your own one, so let's get started. So the first thing you need to decide is, what is this logo actually going to be used for? Are you a fan group, a franchise, or maybe using it for a social media channel? And then what is the name of that group or channel? And then we can use that to base the logo around. So let's say you're basing your name on a country. So you've called yourself the England Ghostbusters, and then we can look at England and incorporate that into the logo. Maybe you're a YouTube channel, so maybe let's just say you call yourself Darren773 as your YouTube name, and we'll work that into the logo. So that's the first thing you need to do. Rules. Now I say there's no rules when it comes to design. This is your logo and you can do it however you want. However, for this particular logo we're doing, it is going to be a Ghostbusters logo, so it does obviously have to be recognisable as a Ghostbusters logo. People should look at that and say, that's Ghostbusters, whether it's the Ghostbusters of America, the Ghostbusters of France, the Ghostbusters of London. It should be recognised as Ghostbusters, obviously. Okay, so don't worry about your ability. You might be the best artist in the world, you might be the absolute worst. Do not panic, it does not matter. The key thing is to get your ideas down. And then when you're ready to have the logo finalised, you can find someone who can help you finalise it in Photoshop or something like that. Whether it's a friend who'll do it for free, or you have to hire someone to do it. But don't worry about it at the moment. Don't rush. We live in a world where everyone wants everything yesterday, and it's just not the way to perfection, basically. Take your time. There's no rush to finish your logo. If it takes you a day, if it takes you a week, if it takes you a month, do not rush it. Take your time and get the perfect logo that you want. Now this next tip I think applies to anything creative, whether it's designing the Ghostbusters logo, any logo for that matter, comedy writing, coming up with magic trick ideas, script writing, songwriting, anything like that, is to write every single idea down. I'm going to say that again because I think it's a really important tip. Write every single idea down, no matter how silly they seem. The reason being, you might come up with an idea, you think, no, that's stupid, but you might look at that like a week down the line, a month, even a year down the line, that might actually inspire something completely different. This has actually worked for me, and I'm going to go into that a little bit later in the video. But like I said, get every idea down. Don't worry about your ability, as I said earlier, no matter how bad your drawing skills are. So let's just say you got an idea, and it's Ghostbusters logo, and he's wearing a Viking hat and a sword and a shield. Right? So let's do a really quick sketch. So it doesn't have to be good, right? So let's just do the logo like this. We'll draw a basic ghost. Doesn't have to be good. Right, let's put a face on him. Right, so Viking hat. We'll put a little Viking hat on him with the horns. There we go. Sword and a shield. Now obviously that's a terrible drawing. I did it in what, 20 seconds? Doesn't have to be good, but I might look at that later now and think, yeah, there's something there, I'll work on that. Or I might think, no, that's terrible, and just discard it. But the point is, get these ideas down, because you don't know when they'll come in handy and when they'll inspire something else. So sticking with this idea of writing everything down, now sometimes you might be out and about, so you don't have a pen or paper with you, and this brilliant idea pops into your head. you've got nowhere to draw it. Don't worry about it. Most of us have our phones on us 24/7 nowadays, so just text a friend, text yourself, email yourself. It doesn't have to be a drawing, it could just be a text description. So if we just go back to the one I did, I might, you could even phone a friend and just leave a voicemail. There's lots of options on your phone, or even like the memo, most phones have a memo pad now, and just write down, Ghostbusters design Moogly holding a sword with a Viking hat. And then when you get home, look at that, and then that will remind you what you thought of, and then draw it out. Don't be afraid to ask people's opinions. And then just going back to earlier when I said write every idea down, when I was designing my logo, which is the Moogly holding the cards and the wand in the giant spade, one of my original ideas was very similar to that, except the logo was still round, he was still holding the cards and the wand, except I'd changed the shape of his head, so his head was a spade. And I remember doing it and thinking, no, I don't like that. But I have a friend who's a professional graphic designer, Mike, who is awesome. Thank you, Mike, if you're watching this. But I sent him some of my ideas, and that was in there. And even though I thought the idea was rubbish, it inspired him to the suggestion to keep the head normal and make the red circle the spade. And that's what I went with. And he basically just, that little bit of advice, just by asking that opinion, mixed in with the writing down, or that crap idea, or I thought it was crap, inspired him to come up with that, and then basically finished my logo for me with that idea. So always ask opinions. You don't always necessarily have to go with people's opinions, because we're all going to have different ideas. Someone might suggest something for your logo and you might not like it, and that's fine. You know, you don't have to go with it, but it's always good to ask opinions and get different perspectives. Okay, so one tip I find really useful when it comes to doing a Ghostbusters logo is to just print off a load of Ghostbusters logos like this for Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2, and then we're going to draw over them. You can also print off the logo and put some tracing paper on top and trace over it, and then change in bits you want to change. So there's two options there. I have no tracing paper, so I'm just going to show you this option. But once you've got them like this, you can just do whatever you want. So first, the most basic option is to just change the colour of the logo. It's a little bit lazy to just do that, but if that's what you want to do, so let's say you want to do a pink logo, all you have to do is, and I'm just doing this really quick, so I'm not going to be neat and get it all within the lines. There we go, we've got a pink Ghostbusters logo. Now maybe we want to add some slime to that, so we'll just take a green pen and just add some slime on top. Just have some slime dripping down off his fingers. And just thinking of these ideas as I can, maybe we want to add some sunglasses just to make him look cool. So let's add some sunglasses. And there's one idea for you. Now, a lot of countries, they like to incorporate their flag into the design. So, the British cross we could do like this. I know the UK Ghostbusters, they have the Union Jack within their logo. So, and obviously don't copy other people's logos, you know, come up with your own, but you could do, so that just gives you an idea. Again, so I'm doing this very, very rough, because you don't want to sit here watching me draw for an hour. So there's that. You could even change the shape of the logo, like I have with mine. Now I've seen a Canadian one. They've done the Canadian maple leaf. I've seen a New York one, which did like an apple, and then they had all this coloured in like this to make an apple shape, which is a really cool idea. And then I got asked to design an autism awareness logo once. So what I did, which I'm going to flash up the proper digital version in the end, but what I did was I sort of made the jigsaw puzzle pieces. So I'm not going to do the whole jigsaw, but sort of like this, with the then coloured all those in, obviously, and like that. One other idea, which is Ghostbusters 2 one, one of my favourite ones, because I love ice cream and the beach. So one thing I did was I changed, so we got rid of his fingers, and I made an ice cream up here. Let's just get the thicker side of the pen there. Made an ice cream, put a flake in it, and obviously had his fingers all coming round. And then what I did was I made some changed the colour of this. So we had the bottom yellow for sand, and then I coloured the rest up here blue for sky, and then I also added a tiny bit at the bottom as if he's just dipping his feet in the ocean. So that's one I quite liked, and yeah, and you could take this sort of idea and you could have him holding anything really. I think his hand's in a good position to look like he's holding stuff, so you could obviously change the fingers, and you could have him holding a flag, you could have him holding a lightsaber, you know, anything you want, anything you want. If you're a snooker player, you could be holding a snooker cue, and then you could colour all this green, and you could just do like little snooker balls. So there's lots of options there, and this is a good way to just put ideas down really quick, basically. So that's a really good way of getting loads of designs done really quickly. Just being able to go over them really quick with pen, and adding stuff and taking away stuff is really quick. Of course, you might find it easier to just draw the whole thing freehand, or you might be more of a digital person. You might be really good with Photoshop and all that. You might just find it easier to do all this on the computer. Whatever works for you, really, as long as you get these ideas down and you can work on them and just keep adding, taking away until you get something that you really like. But of course, once you've finished it, you do need to get it on a computer to make it look professional. Now, there's two ways to do this. There's do it yourself or get someone else to do it. If you can do it yourself, that's fantastic. If you're not good at doing this sort of stuff, maybe you don't have Photoshop or any other program, there's lots of free programs around. I recommend just giving it a go, just to begin with. The worst that can happen is that it doesn't come out as you want and you have to go and ask someone else. Of course, you are going to have to ask someone else to begin with, so why not try it yourself just to see? And it's worth learning to use these programs, just it's fun, basically, and it might come in handy for the future. But anyway, I'd say give it a go. If it's no good, try getting someone else to do it. Now, there's two options with getting someone else to do it. If you can find someone to do it for free, that's great, but artists take a long time doing this stuff. They've worked hard building up you know, the time to learn all this, so don't be offended or upset if you are asked to pay them. I know this as a magician, you're always getting asked to do free shows, and it's like, you know, this is my job, I have to get paid. I like eating and buying Ghostbusters stuff, funnily enough. So if someone offers to do it for free, that is great, but don't expect it, is all I'm going to say. There's a website called Fiverr.com, so if you are on a really tight budget, you can only find people on there that will do things that are quite cheap. But anyway, as I said, don't expect it for free, but you can get it for free, great. But anyway, now I'm going to move on and just show you some of my digital artwork, including a couple of things I mentioned earlier in digital form. So this first one, it's pretty basic. It's basically the Ghostbusters logo. I've put the caution tape in over the red part, so into the red, and that's something you can do with any design. You can change that red bit to any design you want, really. You can change it to solid colour. Personally, I think that's a little bit lazy unless you're doing other stuff to it. That's just me, but putting a cool design in there is something you could easily do. And then I've done the same thing but added slime, and slime is something you can add to any logo design you come up with as well. And then I've done the same thing with Ghostbusters 2, so we have the Ghostbusters 2 logo here, and then moving along we have the same thing but with pink slime. Now if you've got a franchise, these ones might interest you more. So here is the first one I come up with for my group, the London Ghostbusters, and it's the basic logo, but I've put the London skyline blended in with the red there, and that's something you could easily do. You could, if you have a city or town that has a well-known landmark or skyline, you could easily use that skyline as part of your logo. And if we move along, you can see I've moved the skyline to the bottom, and put the St George's Cross in the back. So that is another place you could put your skyline if that's something your town is known for. Or again, gain landmarks. And then moving along, I've basically got the same design, except this time it's the Union Jack. And then the design that we kind of think we're the one we prefer, the one we decided to use mainly, is this one, where we've got the skyline and we've got the London Underground map, but it's been completely tweaked. So if you look at the stations, they've got made up names. And then we've basically taken the original design and just tweaked it slightly for Christmas and Halloween, which are the next two. So we've got Christmas here, and it's basically the first one I showed you, but we've done it green, and Moogly is wearing a Santa hat. And then moving along, we've got the same one for Halloween, except we've made it purple and gave him Joker makeup. So, and I recommend doing stuff like that. Whatever design you come up with, I like theming them to holidays just for to put on social media. Really, they're not something I'm going to make patches of and put on uniforms, but I think they're just good for social media. But that's entirely up to you. Then moving along, so this patch, a friend of mine was making his barbecue Ghostbusters themed. He had put caution taping around it. So I made up this logo for him. You can see we've got the red burger shape, and then Moogly is holding a spatula, and he's printed this on a sticker and stuck that to his barbecue. And then next up, this is one I was asked to do, autism awareness design. I tried a couple of orientations for the jigsaw pieces. I thought this was the one that worked the best personally. And another example of how you can change the shape, so you don't just have to be restricted to that red circle. You can change the shape, colours, or anything there. And then one thing I've been working on, I still need to finish, was I hope to print my own deck of playing cards with all my logos, because I'm the Magic Ghostbuster, I do card tricks. And I thought a basic way of doing the Jokers in that deck was to basically take the standard logo and make it look like the Joker, basically, similar to the London one I just showed you. So that's this. Now, one of my favourite bands of all time is Motorhead, and my Magic Ghostbuster logo kind of gave me the idea for this. And as you can see, I've got the spade with Ghost Lemmy in it, basically. So obviously Motorhead's most famous song is the Ace of Spades, which is why I come up with this Ace of Spades look. And then we've got Moogly with Lemmy's facial hair, and he's holding Lemmy's Rickenbacker bass and a bottle of Jack Daniels, and has the bullets belt. So that's one of my favourites. And then moving on to another favourite, actually, is what I call Beach Busters. It's Moogly having a day at the beach. He has his ice cream with a flake and slime, and dipping his feet in the ocean. And then next up is one I mentioned earlier, and it's one of the early what I call rubbish designs for my own logo. So you can see we still got the circle red, and but the rest of it's pretty similar. So we've got the magic wand, we've got the cards, and I've made the face in a spade. And this is an example of one of these ideas where I did it and thought it looked absolute rubbish. It looked rubbish before I made it, you know, in my head. But I thought, try it anyway, just to see what it looks like. And as I'd mentioned earlier, I sent this, among other designs, to a friend, and it was him who suggested changing the shape of the circle to the spade because of seeing that head. And that is what inspired this, which is my final logo, one I'm really happy with. And I also did a Christmas one of this, which you can see here. I did do a Halloween one, but I can't find it on my computer, so I'm not sure what has happened to that. So I'll have to find it. But I also did a YouTube series about doing Ghostbusters themed bakes, and for the logo on that, rather than use my usual, I changed it slightly. So it's still got a spade, except now Moogly is wearing a chef's hat. He's holding a whisk instead of a wand, and the cards have like cakes and stuff on. So that is that. And then I thought, since I've done the spade, why not do the other three playing cards? So here we have the diamond, and Moogly's waving his wand, showing his hand empty as if he'd just done a trick to make something disappear. And then the next one is Moogly in the heart. And this time, instead of pulling the rabbit out of a hat, he's pulling a mini Moogly out of a hat. And then the last one of that is the club, and he's springing cards over his head and stabbing one with a knife, and that one he's stabbed is the card that he would have selected if he was doing the trick for you. And then I just want to talk about some mashup stuff, really, because I like messing around on Photoshop and mashing up designs with like Ghostbusters designs of other franchises. And this is Cobra Kai. If you have not watched Cobra Kai, I highly recommend it. It's a great series, especially if you like the Karate Kid back in the day. And in this, I've basically took the Cobra Kai snake and just snaked it around to look like he's caught the ghost. Also a big Pac-Man fan, so here are just a few of many Pac-Man designs I've messed around with. There's so many on the computer, but here's 3 of my favourite, I guess. And then the final one is the A-Team classic series, but this I've called the G-Team, We Pity the Goals. One other design that I didn't show you there because I didn't have any on my computer, annoyingly, is I sometimes get hired to do birthday videos for people where I'll put my costume on, do a couple of magic tricks, say happy birthday, do something with Slimer, that sort of stuff. And in the thumbnail for those videos, I'll normally use the basic Ghostbusters logo, except I'll put a birthday hat on him, have him hold the balloon, and I'll write his name along here. And that is something you could use for anything. You could write your name of your franchise or anything along there. It's a good place to do some text. But anyway, I hope that was informative. I hope it has helped you get ideas for your logo and or ideas on how to start progressing with your logo. If you have watched this and you've made a logo, I'd love to see what they look like. So if you find me on social media at the Magic Ghostbuster, I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I am on Twitter, but I hardly use it, so Instagram or Facebook is best. But I'd love to see them, so tag me in them. I'd love to see them. But anyway, thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope that was helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, keep on busting.